Hi, welcome to the new episode of Sportsy Let's Aim Sports. Today we have with us the son of Indian snooker, Aditya Mehta. Aditya is an Indian professional snooker player. He participated in a World Snooker Tour starting 2007. He reached the highest world ranking of 49. Aditya has several medals at the Asian and World Games. He won the gold at the men's event in 2013 World Games and the team event at 2009 Asian Games. Aditya has won medals at the Asian Games 2006 and 2010. Aditya compiled a total of 41 century breaks while on the tour, the highest for which was at the 2014 Paul Hunter Classic, where he made the first ever maximum break in the competition. Coming back from the career-threatening neck injury, he turned amateur and won the IBSF World Team Snooker Championship, defeating the Thai team 3-1 alongside Pankaj Advani. Please welcome Arjuna Awardee, Indian professional snooker player with a lot of international accolades, and the one who is called the son of Indian snooker, Aditya Mehta. Thank you for watching, thank you for liking, and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe to our channel Sportsy Sage and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle Sportsy Sage across all the social media platforms. Hey, hi Aditya, great to have you on Sportsy. Let's talk sports.
Hi, it's great to be here.
And you won't believe that how much fun it is for me to have the son of Indian snooker on our platform. While I'll ask you about what the name means and how it came, but for the viewers and listeners, we have Aditya Mehta with us. He's the former Indian former professional snooker player, has participated in many international and the world snooker tours. And while we get to hear the whole journey from him, it is one thing that is always proud feel that he's Arjuna Award himself, and till as recent as couple of years back, he came back to amateur and actually won the IBSF World Team Snooker Championship. So Aditya, there's a between where I started and where I gave the introduction, there's a long journey about you. So how did snooker happen to you? It's like people go out and play cricket and football, and what got you attracted to snooker?
Well, I did the same thing. I started with football. I think I was in Don Bosco in Mumbai, which is very famous for its football team. So ever since I was 8 years old, I've been playing football all the way till my 8th standard. And then obviously, as any Indian would do, would try my hand at cricket and fail because obviously I wasn't good enough. But I also played badminton. But when I was 12, I started playing golf and snooker, which was, all of this probably because of my dad, because he's a very sporty person and he always wanted probably me to play some sport. But golf and snooker really kind of struck me a lot more than any other sport. And still golf is one of my favorite sports. But snooker, from the age of 12 till about 15, I saw that I was actually better at snooker than I was at golf. And at some point, you have to make a decision. If you want to be good at something, then you have to devote a little more time to it. So at 15, I won my first tournament and in snooker. And really, there wasn't any looking back from there onwards. I wasn't good enough in golf to pursue that. So, but, I think I found the perfect sport because generally speaking, I'm a very let's say, shy and slightly fragile human being. Excessive sunlight gives me headaches, and I just need my peace and quiet. And I mean, there's no sport on the planet that I think suit me better than snooker. So I suppose I just got lucky.
Okay, that's interesting. It is finding the cue. It's the finding the cue from that not lighting the sunlight and being the introvert and using a cue to play your game and make it professional. So I think it is. I know the line may sound cliche, but yeah, it is what came out. So Aditya, it's like 15. You won your snooker competition and you decided, okay, now I want to take it professionally. But when you make that switch happen, that okay, I want to take it professionally now, what all goes through your mind, and what were the aspirations during that space, that okay, if I want to take it professionally, what is going to be, who inspired you, and what kind of motivation was there? Because it was not a sport which is known to thousands, sorry, millions. It is known to hundreds and thousands and few thousands, specifically in India. Europe is a big circuit where you went ahead and played, but what were those three things in your life: aspiration, inspiration, motivation, when you made it professional?
I mean, I can't say at 15 I was thinking much about making it a professional job. It was just you like playing snooker, you were decent at it. I won a city level event, and although it was a good win, I wasn't going to get ahead of myself. I think it was just a process. You go from that to a city level, a state level tournament. You play the juniors. It looks like you're good. You win that. You go to the nationals. Suddenly now you're in the top three in the juniors. Then you start thinking, okay, maybe I might be good at seniors. So it's a very long process. I never for once imagined that I would probably end up doing everything that I did. I think it just happens. And even along that path, there's so many, difficulties. Like you don't just succeed just like that. Especially me, I think I've had far more failures than I would like to admit in my life. And so it's been a difficult ride. But I think motivation wise, I think it's just when you're playing a sport, you want to experience the next level. So, like I said, you want to go from city to state, state to national, national to international. And so the natural path at some point takes you towards the pro tour. And
Mm-hmm.
so if any snooker player has aspirations, it would be to be at the eventual top of the game. It's like you take a tennis player, if he doesn't dream about being at the Wimbledon or French Open, any Grand Slam, then
Correct.
he's obviously not exactly motivated. So for
Yes.
us, it's the same. If you want to play at the highest level, you want to play the greatest players, then you be a pro. And so it's just a natural progression for any snooker player. Now, whether you make it or not is a completely different story. But the idea of playing the Stephen Henrys and the Jimmy Whites, Ronnie O'Sullivans, and John Higgins, all of them, is too much for you to kind of not consider. So, especially for somebody who just loves the game. Like I
Right.
said, I didn't play it. I didn't play this game because I could make a career out of it. It it's the same for every sports person. You don't start off like that. You start off because you just enjoyed it. So for
Yes.
somebody who enjoyed it, you have to go all the way if you can.
Okay. Interesting. I think that sums it all, and the kind of name that you took, and you wanted to play with them, and you ended up playing with most of those the biggies of snooker world. Were you ever intimidated by that when you actually got the
Absolutely.
opportunity?
Absolutely. I am a very like shy person. I'm not a very loud and over positive and aggressive kind of person who can just deal with all these situations. I do feel intimidated for sure. And at every stage in your life, there's always someone better than you,
Yeah.
and you kind of look up to them. So when you first kind of step into the same field, is going to be a little difficult, and it was tough. Yeah, I mean, playing. I think I got beaten pretty bad the first time I played. A lot of the big names like the Ronnies and Judd Trumps and uh, you know probably Neil Robertson as well. But then at the same time, I settled a little bit and started actually winning. So eventually it's if you're good enough, you'll get there. But it was tough. The first time I played Ronnie was probably mentally the hardest game I've ever played, because I could not focus on the game at all. It was all about the occasion, about Ronnie O'Sullivan, and he hammered. I
Okay.
deserved it.
Yeah. So I think it's a nice way of talking about the next point, which is just a cue from what you said, and I'm going to use cue a bit more. I think during this chat is after the getting intimidated, as you said, the game was more mental. The first game against Ronnie was more mental than anything else. So for an athlete's life, how do you actually overcome those nerves?
I think it's experience. I think you have to go through the disappointment of not being mentally present. Like you realize the mistakes that you made, um, and it's okay to be overwhelmed a little bit at times. Obviously it's not ideal, and uh, no probably psychologist or somebody is going to tell you that it's fine. I have no idea. I just feel like it's process. It, and it's something that you have to learn yourself with time. um, And as long as you are, you know, trying to learn from the experience, you will, because it's just a matter of time. If you don't get enough opportunities, it may be difficult, because all of this is about putting yourself time and time again in the same situation and then learning how to do it better. And the only way to do that is the same as it is on playing on TV. If the first time you go in front of those cameras and you're live to millions of people, especially on the Pro Tour, when we've played on BBC or Eurosport, you're literally live to tens of millions, and it's very difficult in your head, because every mistake that you make is magnified. Yeah, I mean, the mental uh, learning that happens. I mean, of course, you can go through the whole meditation and sports psychology stuff, which is essential for every sports person for sure. But it's got a lot more to do with experience. And until you put yourself out there in all sorts of different experiences against the best players, and sometimes even against weaker players, where you're expected to win. See, these are all in sport. It's all about the expectations and how it kind of plays on your mind. So
Right.
all experiences are going to play on your mind, and it's how you kind of come to terms with, and how you decide you're going to deal with certain situations, and then obviously you do what you need to do in order to learn from them. So if I feel that being calm and mentally more empty, with an empty mind, it works for me, then meditation is great. If I feel like I really need to motivate myself, pump myself up, maybe I need some self help and kind of sports psychology stuff to put me in the right frame of mind. So depending on what you want, through these experiences, you will take one step at a time forward.
Excellent. And so Aditya, and when you talk about the experiences, you got those experiences pretty early in your life, with being a runners up at ACBC, and being the first Indian ever since Yasin Merchant to play in the main tour. So how was that experience? Because suddenly the fame came, the name came, that okay, is the young kid playing in the main tour. So how was that phase for you?
In fact, this came after a very bad phase. I actually stopped playing for a year because my performances were just not kind of improving. So in 2007, I decided to take some time off and to kind of reassess what I wanted to do with my life. As a sports person, you have these moments where you got to reflect a little bit and say, am I taking the right steps? Am I moving in the right direction? So 2007 was a tough one. But when I came back at the end of 2007, the motivation was back. So I went to my state championship. I won both billiards and snooker. I went to the nationals, got to the final, lost to Pankaj, but went to the Asian championship, got to the final. And within 3 months of coming back into the game, 4 months of going back to the game, I turned pro, because the Asian final, if you reach the Asian final, the top two players were given a pro ticket. So literally life turned upside down in a matter of 5 months. And so it was a little difficult to kind of wrap my head around it. But then suddenly all your dreams have come true. You're going to be going to England and playing against the best. So it was difficult, but it was also like a dream suddenly coming true. Now I just had to kind of be focused on how I'm going to make the most of it. And the first season on the tour is always the hardest. But at least I was in the right direction. I was moving forward. There was a spark that was missing early on in my career when I transitioned from a junior to a senior, which is now suddenly back. I wouldn't say I was the youngest on the pro tour or anything. I was 22 at the time, and we had 16-year-olds who were amazing as well.
Wow.
So not Indians, and I mean that's probably one thing that we need to change. But there were the attention was not as pronounced. I think, like you said, snooker is not something that is very mainstream in India. So it's not as if it was suddenly like a cricketer going into the IPL and suddenly becomes the toast of the town. It's not like that. I had my time. I had I had a lot of time to find my feet. But the difficult part with the professional tour is you get 1 year. And if in 1 year you don't climb into the top 64 of the world, you're out. which is what happened. So this, that process continued for a long time. But, the start was quite odd, from going from thinking about quitting the game to turning pro in a matter of 6 months is quite a story.
And I think that is what is all about the mental toughness and basically having a passion for it. I think the passion never dies, and that's what got you back. But it's very interesting that you said that 2007 you took a break, and that was just after that you had a bronze in the Asian Games in 2006 in Doha. So somebody might expect that, okay, you are at the Asian Games getting a medal for the country, and then you go down and saying that, okay, I don't want to play anymore. So that is a pretty tough transition for somebody to understand, and you, as you very well explained, how you came out of it. But Asian Games always has a different place for you, right? Then you came back in 2010 and got 2 medals, one bronze and 1 silver. So how was that journey to represent your country and actually getting those medals for the country?
So the first one in 2006 was massive because I was coming out of my juniors phase and trying to make a mark in the men's. I obviously I was in the top 4 when I was 20, even in the men's, but consistently not quite making that many waves, which is one of the reasons why that 2007 break came about. But yeah, 2006 I was not in the top 4 or 5 going into the qualifiers, and it was a long way. It was very not likely that I was going to make it into the Asian Games team as well. So to kind of clinch that spot in the last tournament, in the second last match, I think I had to beat Yasin to qualify because he was already in the team, and I was fighting for 4th spot or something like that, and it went down to the wire and finally qualified. And I think that was a huge moment for me to play that international. The games is something that's, I mean, to any sports person, any games for some reason holds so much more emotion and value than anything else. So it was a great experience, and we did well. I mean, the one of the things I remember from that 2006 games was that I was playing most of the games. I was until the quarterfinals. It was myself and Yasin, and Rupesh was playing the doubles. But in the quarters, I felt a little ill. Like I had a very, very bad headache, and I was just not. I had headache issues, in my youth, and I knew I couldn't play. It was just before the match, so I told the coach that I can't play this match. I really, I have to sit this one out, and hopefully the other 2 will carry us through. And somehow they did, and in the quarters, even though it was tight, they got us through the semis. And then I was ready to play the semis, obviously, because now I'm fine. But the coach didn't want to put me in the team because he said that we have a winning combination in the quarter, so we're just going to stick with that. And it was so disappointing that day to miss out on the semis at the Asian Games, that where we lost that semis. And then we came down to the bronze medal match, and I told my coach, no matter what happens, I am playing this match, this bronze medal match. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'm playing. And I played amazing. And in fact, I mean, I played, I played the singles and the doubles, and we won 3-0. And, it was a very, very positive one-sided performance. So I'll always remember that I went for that. That bronze medal was something that I was desperate when it came down to the wire, and we got it. And I think that was a great moment. And 2010 again, the silver and the bronze. So that's 2 medals, 2 life-changing games for me. Especially 2010 again, after 1 year on the pro tour, struggling to kind of make a mark. You need something to push you, and that's again where Yasin Merchant came into the picture, and he really kind of talked me into giving myself more time, because failure was just ever present. Failure was just ever present at every corner. You had to take a blow, and you had to, figure out a way back. And so again, that Asian Games was a huge turning point for me, because that got a little government incentives, which meant that I could afford my professional stint in the UK, because no funding. Remember, this is snooker. I have played 10 years on the pro tour with barely only 10% of my expenses coming through any sorts of funding. So I really needed every penny that I could earn, and that was 2010 was a very important.
And the way you spoke about it, I think I just thinking through it, I think that actually also made a mark for 2012 when you got your Arjuna Award, and it helped the whole process. So how was it to receive your Arjuna Award from Honorary President Pranab Mukherjee, and one of the highest award for a sports person in India? So what was that feel?
It was I'd already had 2 or 3 good years. I mean, I won my first national title in 11. I won another one in 12. 3 Asian Games medals. I'd been to the Asian final in 2008 and again in 11. So I knew I would do something. But as a sports person, I don't think you should ever be in a position where you feel like you can demand or feel like there is something due to you by the government. We don't do it like that. I mean, we all would love it. We love being respected and being awarded. But I remember I was in England at the time, and the first initial list came out that year, and it was a small list, and my name wasn't on it, and I was really, really disappointed. And I thought, okay, this is all over now. I mean, if I don't get it now, I'm never going to get it. Things like that crop in your mind. I was really in a bad mood for a day, and then the next day, the full list comes out, and I'm in it, and it was like just an incredible feeling, a little bit of relief, but just realizing that you're going to be, you're going down in history, of Indian sports people. So that was amazing. Then just the trip to Delhi. I went directly from England. My parents and my sisters came from Bombay, and we stayed there for 2 nights. The whole suiting up for the Asian Games, the rehearsal ceremony. Asian Games. Sorry, for the Arjuna Award and the rehearsal ceremony and all of that. It's a really great experience. I met a lot of great sports people there, which was also amazing. Yuvraj Singh got it at the same time. Parupali Kashyap, and so we made some good friends. And it'll always be special. And hopefully, there's more to come. Because quite honestly, the greatest years of my snooker career, the best achievements in my career, have come after the Arjuna Award. So hopefully, at some point, those achievements will also be recognized. And but as far as that moment goes, you can't beat something like that. It's still, the picture is still up here right in front of me with my Arjuna Award on top, and that is the corner of my house that I'm proud of.
Yeah, and believe me, that is something. It's any athlete's life dream. At the same time, we are proud of getting and it's not only about how difference it made. It's actually about a validation. At every stage, you're also looking for some validation, some pat on the back somewhere. And this something like this coming up your way, I think that's a huge thing. And so, as you said, a lot of things happened after that, and you became a part of the history for Indian sports. So, we into 2013, the gold in the world game that happened for you. Again, it is not that happens every day. So, if that is not one of the best moment for you in your career, what other is the best moment for you?
Yeah, 2013 was probably the best year of my career in terms of the 2 most important achievements of my life. Obviously, the World Games, which I wasn't exactly in the best of form going into, but I suppose it's just written. Some things in a sports person's life, sometimes things are just written and they happen. And somehow that was one of the most amazing trips. I mean, Colombia, first of all, South America. We've never even thought we'll go somewhere there for snooker in our lives, and we're going there. It's a long way. We lose our cue on the way there, in the sense it doesn't come from luggage. So we have to wait 2 days. Luckily, the match is on the 3rd day. So all sorts of things happening, and it's just somehow I got through that first round, and I played the number 1 seed in the 2nd round. And when I managed to get through that, I just hit such a good run of form for the last 2 matches, the semis and the finals. I was literally unplayable, and I don't know where it came from. I wish I could do it all the time, but I don't know where it came from. I just thank the Lord for giving me that something special, that moment. And that's another thing that I'm very proud of. It's one of my favorite pictures of my life, with the tricolor on my shoulders and the gold medal, and you can't beat that. everyone talks about the national anthem going up, and it may sound very cliche, but it is not something that you take lightly. That experience is something that is very, very, very special. So but I'd have to say that something that's far more probably special to me was the Indian Open final, which was again 2 months after that. Was the first Indian Open, the first professional snooker tournament ranking event to ever take place in India.
Yeah.
It was a huge moment for the country, and we had to qualify from a qualifying match in the UK, and I had a very, very difficult match just to qualify. So just to think, I qualified, beat 3 world champions on the way to get to the final of a professional ranking event, which has never been achieved in the history of Indian snooker. Nobody has got past even the last 16. So to be in the final in your first home event, and sometimes what happens is like you take something like an Indian Open and you don't get a lot of top players coming. So then it becomes like an easier field. But because it was the first one, everyone was here. Top Neil Robertsons to Ding Junhui, who beat me in the final, to Mark Williams, world champion, Peter Ebdon, world champion, Stephen Maguire, top 3 in the world, top 4 in the world. And I beat all these players on the way to the final. And I don't think that I can compare any other performance in my life, in my snooker life, to that tournament. It was special on so many different levels, and definitely will remain the most, up to date, the most important day of my life.
Excellent. And while you were explaining it, believe me, it's like as if I was going through the whole journey. You gave me that kind of feel, right? Okay, like it's so passionate. It's so fresh in your mind, because as you said, right, those are the things that athlete lives by. They want those moments to hang on to in their career. So while these all highs were there, 2015 was not very good, with again the almost career threatening neck injury that you had. And so what was going through your mind when that happened, and how did you actually come out of it? And importance of mental toughness or physical exercises, all this combination, how do you come back? Because you are at the peak, then something like this happens and you don't know what is next. What goes through what went through your mind that time?
Honestly, it happened in 2014. It was just at the start. So 2013 was my best season, 13-14, and just after the first tournament of the 14 season, which again was a very good tournament for me. One fine day, I start feeling a lot of pain in my neck and behind my right shoulder, and it just gets worse and worse. And before you know it, the next day, as I wake up from in the morning, fortunately my roommate was there as well. And I just collapsed in the hallway in pain. I had no idea what it was. It wasn't something that I went and hurt my neck. It was something that's probably been going on inside my neck, in my spine, in my discs that I have not known about for all this while. And one fine day, everything just hits the roof. And for the next 1 month, I couldn't get within a foot of my cue. So when we bend down, we touch our chin to our cue. I couldn't even get within a foot of my cue. So that was it. I was not playing, not doing anything. Fortunately, we did all the tests. We did the X-rays and just a few painkillers at the time kind of settled it down. But I realized that this is something that is going to go long, and some real intervention is required at the time. But this is where I'm kind of a little angry at myself, that my desperation to not give up and not kind of let that pro tour slip away, because that's what I would have to do. I would have had to let it go. But I didn't want to let it go, and I didn't want to come back to India and start, the healing process. So I kind of, pushed it under the rug, relied on painkillers and some physiotherapy, a little bit of gym to get through. And I did for, that 2 months after this happened, I made my first professional career, like maximum break, and India's ever. So nobody in India has ever made a maximum break, outside the country. The only other one was Geet Sethi, and that was 25 years ago. And I made 2. And while I'm making that maximum, I'm already in pain. So I've got the neck issue now, and my right side starts to go numb in the middle of the match, and I'm thinking, what as in I don't mind losing, but I just don't want to lose 4-0. So I'm 2-0 down, and I'm thinking just play fast, try and make a 50 break or a 60 break, so that you at least get one frame on the board, and then lose. It's fine. And before you know it, in the next frame, I start running around the table, and I made a maximum. So that was the first ever like professional maximum.
Wow.
So just such weird things happen in life that you really don't know how to explain. But it took me till 2016 to finally decide that I need a break. I couldn't do it anymore. I took 6 months off. I came back to India. I tried to get my rehab done at physio, and I went back. Like I said, I couldn't stay out. And then from 16 to 18, I tried again, but progressively got worse. As the years passed, and my effort, I couldn't put the same amount of effort in, and the game just started to become a bit of a struggle. So I don't know, maybe I didn't make all the right moves. Maybe I should have done things a bit differently, but there's nothing I can do to change the past. And I did the best that I could. I knew that that was a very important moment in my career. I just didn't want to let go of it. But as now, after having that experience, if I had to advise somebody about these things, I would definitely learn from my mistakes. It's better to step away for a little while and make sure that you are in the best shape possible before you try any heroics when it comes to sport. Mental, physical. If you're not at the top of your game, you stand no chance at the highest levels of the game. So you live and you learn, and I'm still learning.
Wow. And I think other than explaining your own process, I think what you mentioned at the end is, if I have to give advice, that you should listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to your body, and take the decision which will have a long-term impact. And that is something very important for even the young kids who are trying to be professional, trying to be budding amateurs, want to go at the different level. And this is very important, that if you don't play that one game, it's okay, but that moment will earn you 20 more games. I think that is something very, very important. And this exactly comes to my next point, is like, this game that you play, snooker, billiard, it's quite a very high level of concentration and control. So to have an amazing career, what was your favorite mind and body exercises that you were going? I'm not no exhibition of the exercise, but what is that? It really helped you?
I see. Okay, so the last few years has been purely physiotherapy, which my physio, I've been really lucky to find her, who live active physiotherapy, and she's done very well to keep me in the game. I think I was almost afraid that it's the end of my career, and then after that we still achieved a lot. I mean, last year to win a national title, to win the world title, it was something that you can't even imagine after the 2018 when I put my cue away. I never thought it would happen. But I think in the early years, I think 2011, 12, the time when I was starting to really, do well, I feel meditation. Obviously, my mother is very spiritual, and she teaches meditation, and she's part of a spiritual society. So she was a big influence at the time. And meditation for me was pretty important, because especially in the tough times when you want to stop that mental chatter, the monkey brain, as we call it, from ruining everything. You need that calm mind. So that was important. And there was a time in in those years where I got into running, and running almost became like a meditation in itself. It was just like, how to keep putting one foot in front of the other and just keep going. It didn't last very long, because I wasn't a very passionate about running. But it was a good mental training, I felt. I think running for me was more a mental exercise than it as much as it was a physical. To keep, because I was training for a 10K, I wanted to do some work, and I was not a very fit person. So I had to really push myself to constantly keep saying, okay, one more step, just keep going, one more round, one more song, like how we're listening to music while we're running. You calculate time based on the number of songs that you run. And it was just that exercise of just pushing yourself beyond your limits a little bit was an important thing. And I loved working out. So obviously strength training in the gym and yoga class and all those things. I did all of this in the UK, and I really enjoyed all of it. I don't think there's any one thing that I would say. I just think whatever physical exercise you like, whatever puts you in a good frame of mind, whatever calms your senses, that's what you should do. You know.
Excellent. And I think from the calming, I have just a small thing we want to hear from you about the calming yourself is you played the world number two, the Jude Trump, in your first ever televised match. And you mentioned earlier that, okay, lakhs and lakhs of people watching and puts a different pressure. So what was going through your mind when your first match was televised?
I think I was overawed. I mean, I told you in the beginning, all these big players, I have made a mess. I have made a serious mess of matches against top players, and he was a superstar, like
Yeah.
in the game, and he had all sorts of sponsors and managers running around him and security going on, and I'm just thinking, I'm a simple guy from India, never experienced this big stage, but I love just being there because I think if I'm not mistaken, that was the international championship, and I beat Stuart Bingham to get to that round, to get to the last 16, and that itself was a huge win for me. Stuart Bingham is world champion, so I think at that moment, especially considering the financial implications of winning that match as well, I was just really happy. I was just like, I have a lot of money in the bank now to get me through, and I'm just going to go out there and enjoy myself. But he was too good for me. I think I was ranked somewhere around 80 in the world, and Judd was in the top 2, 3, 4 players in the world. There's a huge difference. And not only did I get overawed by the occasion, I got overawed by my opponent, and he outplayed me. And at the end of the day, I was fine. I enjoyed the experience. It was all the way in China. There's a long way to go for snooker, and you usually our pressure on us is on that first round. You want to get through that first round, and playing Bingham first round, and in fact I had a round before Bingham as well, which I won 6-5. So I was just really happy, and honestly I enjoyed the experience. I'm not one to get really kind of bogged down by those things. I love playing the top players, and like I said before, the experience of losing and seeing what mistakes you made mentally and physically and in your game is the only way you're going to win in the future. So if nothing else, that match maybe gave me one more lesson into how to play on televised matches and how to play against the top players.
Excellent. And again, from the same thing is now, we discussed earlier about you coming back from the injury, and in 1920, and you had the national title and the world it was, I think, the world team championship that you had. So in 2019, when you won the IBF's world team championship, and along with Pankaj, who is always neck to neck with you or ahead, and so all amazing thing that you had. So how was that feel, and what exactly difference between pro circuit and a amateur circuit?
So the world, unfortunately for me and Pankaj, we haven't had a lot of opportunities to play together in our career, because I very early in my career decided to move to England and play on the pro tour while he was here. So when we do get our chances, we always fancy them, because we know as a team, me and him, on the amateur circuit, we are a force to be reckoned with, because we both have immense experience and quality as well. And not just on the amateur circuit. We went to the World Cup in 2015, which was a professional event, and we got to the semi-final. If not for one really bad miss, well, I won't say really bad miss, but I did miss a pink off in the decider, which if I pot, we go into the final of the World Cup, which is unthinkable at the time. So it just goes to show that me and him make a really good team. So when we did become a team, which also required me to qualify, and it was not until the last match of qualifying in the in the latest camp that we had that I qualified to partner him and go to the world. So it was a long journey just to get there, and then we get to that world and we lose our first match in the group, and suddenly we're staring at exiting the tournament just in the group stage. But as he is a very great competitor, and when the good thing about me and him is when we're playing together, we always believe in the other's ability to pull something out of the hat. If we're down and out, we know if he's struggling, I'm always playing well. If I'm struggling, he's always playing well, and it just always seems to happen. So it was a great experience in kind of find like partnership in a game that's an individual game. There's very few times where you get to play events like that, and I think we both really enjoyed it. We as the tournament got progressed, we just got better and better, and at the end of the day, we were deserving winners. And even he said at the end of the tournament, he said that one day this had to happen. Like me and you had to win something together, because it's not possible that we're a very strong team for the amateur circuit, and I'm just glad that we did. It was good for India. It was the first ever world team title for India at the amateur level. And as far as the pro tour goes, as you were saying, is it's a different animal completely, because you're talking about the greatest amateurs. Every year, the best amateurs in the world will turn pro. So while the amateur tour progressively requires new entrants all the time to keep it competitive, because the best players are going away. All the best players in the world are turning pro, and there's only 128 players in the world on the pro tour. So it's very difficult to get into, and equally difficult to stay in the pro tour. And I mean, you just take the names. You have your Ronnie O'Sullivans and Judd Trumps, Neil Robertson, John Higgins, Mark Selby, the whole lot. Those players, they make this tour. It's incredible to watch, incredible to experience and play against. Just a big difference. It's like a huge step forward from the amateur circuit, which is why that's what I wanted to do in my life. I mean, if you don't take that step, then you're not really sort of passionate about your game, because anyone who's passionate about any sport will want to take the step to the highest level of the game.
Correct. Interesting. So Aditya, I think we can chat for longest time, but I just have now, with the time constraint, I'll just have my last couple of questions. What you have dealt through the whole Indian snooker system and international system. So what is your dream for Indian snooker?
I'm glad you asked, because I feel like I have been through so many experiences in my own career, in my own life, and I still will go through a lot more as well. But I am in a unique position to really help the next generation of snooker players to be more prepared, to not have to learn the same lessons firsthand as I had to learn in trying to be a pro, and and trying to get through injury, and trying to learn how to live in a foreign country, all of those things, and just be a good player. Like it took me many years to learn the art, and I feel like I'm in a very unique position where I would really like to be able to contribute to the next generation of this country. And I've always been passionate about coaching, and recently I started coaching. I held my first coaching camp in Aurangabad for a group of 10 people, and we had a lot more lined up. But this new lockdown has kind of delayed our plans. But that's what I really want to do. Apart from playing and continuing to win titles and medals for the country, which will continue, because I've learned how to deal with my neck and my injury and things like that, and I'm still India #1, so that will continue. But if you don't pass on the knowledge and the experience that you gain over the years of so many sacrifices and so many failures and successes, then I think it would be a waste of my life if I didn't pass it on. So my dream, apart from maybe one day going back to the pro tour for myself, for my own satisfaction, to test myself one more time, would be that I am responsible for 10 more Indians going to the pro tour, and that would be something has far greater impact in the long term than just me going around doing what I want to do. We need to do something about all the passionate players out there who are just waiting. They're craving for guidance and somebody to help them improve. And so we need that infrastructure. And I think as far as the service goes, as far as experience goes, then I am in a very unique position to offer that. And I look forward to doing that for many years to come.
Excellent. And I think that is something very important that we would love to see you. Already Arjuna Awardee, we would like to see you as a Dronacharya Awardee and train to train more and more people, right? You take the game ahead, and from the coaching which you already started, and it should go a long way from here. And so my one question, which was the first question I wanted to ask, but I'll push it down, is like, how you got the name the Son of Indian Snooker?
I have no idea. I think somebody just made that up on Wikipedia or World Snooker maybe. I actually never figured out where it came from. So I think it probably signifies a few things, that are quite unique, considering the fact that, nobody from India was kind of taking that leap of faith, and somebody needed to rise from the ashes, or whatever analogy you want to put to it. But I did rise, slow and steady, but and hopefully that rise continues. It will set one day as well, but until then, let's keep it as bright and fun and energetic as possible, and give as much as we can to the next generation of QIsts.
Excellent, excellent, Aditya. I think this is we couldn't have asked for any better way to end the current chat. I'll not say full stop, as a comma or a semicolon in the chat that we can have. But wonderful talking to you, Aditya. I think it's a phenomenal career, a sport which is not followed in India at a professional level. It is mostly recreational level, but the kind of effort that Yasin Merchant, you, Pankaj are doing, and making a name for that sport is phenomenal. And wish you all the best and to achieve all the dreams that you have. And as you said, that one day go back to the pro circuit just for yourself. I think that is also just around the corner. So wish you all the best and talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me. It's been great chatting with you, Sid. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe to our channel Sportsy Sage and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle Sportsy Sage across all the social media platforms.